Accounting for bonds payable. So, before definition, banggitin ko muna yung mga uri ng bonds payable. Kinds of bonds payable. Number 1, secured bonds payable. 2, debenture or unsecured bonds payable. 3, registered bonds payable. 4, coupon bonds payable. 5, term bonds payable. 6, serial bonds payable. 7, callable bonds payable. And 8, convertible bonds payable. What are bonds payable? Bonds payable is a debt instrument. The issuance of bonds has an issuer, the debtor, and a holder, the creditor. The bond certificate represents a promise to pay the sum of money at the maturity date. Moreover, the periodic interest is on the maturity amount, face value at a specific rate. Ang bonds ay utang. Ang difference lang ng bonds sa ibang mga utang like accounts payable and notes payable ay iisang promissory note sa iisang tao or institution. Samantalang ang bonds ay parang promissory note din pero ang tawag ay bond certificates. At hindi lang iisang certificate or iisang tao, maramihan. Ganon din yung creditor, maramihan meaning yung bonds ay malaking utang sa iba't ibang investors. Usually, ang nag-i-issue ng bonds ay malalaking company or projects. Ang ginagawa ng isang company, for example, ay nag-i-issue ng bond certificate sa public na sa bawat certificate na yon ay may halagang 1,000 pesos. Nakalagay din doon ang stated rate at maturity date. At yung mga bond certificate na yon ay i-distribute sa mga investors para makatanggap ng pera ang company. Kasi ang bond certificate ay parang promissory note na nakalagay doon na si issuer or debtor ay magbabayad ng principal at interest na nakalagay sa bond certificate pagdating ng maturity date. The interest payment is usually semi-annual or annually. A bond indenture is a contract or legal document that contains the agreement of the issuer and the bondholder. Bond indenture includes the face amount, the stated interest rate, and the date of periodic interest payment. Moreover, the date of maturity. What are bonds payable at a discount? When the market rate is higher than the stated rate, the bonds are sold at a discount. This means that the cash received by the debtor is lower than the face amount of the bond. Sa bonds issued at discount, mas mababa yung cash na matatanggap ni debtor compared sa nakalagay sa bond indenture na face amount, meaning kahit na mababa yung natanggap na principal ni debtor, kung ano yung nakalagay sa bond certificate na principal at interest, yun pa rin ang babayaran ni debtor. Ang tanong, bakit pumapayag si debtor na mas mababa yung ma-receive niyang principal or cash compared sa principal na nakalagay sa certificate na babayaran niya? Doon na papasok yung market rate. Mapapansin na sa bonds payable laging dalawa ang given na interest rate, yung stated rate at yung market rate. Sa bonds kasi irrevocable na or permanent na lahat ng nakalagay sa bond certificate kasama na doon yung principal at interest. Pero alam natin na sa paglipas ng panahon, nababago yung interest rate sa market. Depende sa present economy, pwedeng tumaas at pwede ring bumaba. And since permanent na yung nakalagay na rate sa certificate, ang ginagawa ay binabawasan na lang or dinadagdagan yung principal na binibigay ni creditor kay debtor at the time of issuance to compensate yung discrepancy ng stated interest rates sa present or market rate. For example, kapag ang current market rate ay 12%, pero ang nakalagay sa bond certificate ay 10%, ang ibibigay ni creditor na cash ay mas mababa sa face amount na nakalagay sa bond certificate kasi malulugi si creditor kung yung nakalagay sa certificate na principal ang ibibigay niyang amount dahil mas mababa yung nakalagay na interest rate sa certificate compared sa current market rate, at para hindi malugi si creditor ang ginagawa, binabawasan yung cash proceeds na ibibigay kay debtor. Instead na yung principal na nakalagay sa bond certificate, mas mababa doon yung ibibigay ni creditor, kaya parang as if tama pa rin yung natanggap niyang interest kahit maliit yung stated rates kasi mas mababa yung binigay niyang cash compared sa nakalagay na principal amount sa certificate na babayaran sa kanya ni debtor pagdating ng maturity date. What are bonds payable at a premium? The bonds are sold at a premium when the market rate is lower than the stated rate. This means that when the bond is sold at a premium, the cash is more than the face value of the bonds. Sa bonds issued at premium, mas mataas yung cash na matatanggap ni debtor compared sa nakalagay sa bond indenture na face amount. Meaning, dadagdagan ni creditor yung ibibigay na cash kay debtor compared sa principal na nakalagay sa bond certificate. Ang question, hindi ba lugi si creditor kasi mas malaki yung binigay niyang cash compared sa nakasulat sa bond certificate na babayaran ni debtor pagdating ng maturity date? Doon na papasok yung market rate. Mapapansin na sa bonds payable, laging dalawa ang given na interest rates, yung stated rate at yung market rate. And kapag bond issued at premium, mas mababa ang market rate compared sa stated rate. And since mas mataas yung stated rate na nakalagay sa bond certificate compared sa current market rate, ang ginagawa ay dinadagdagan na lang ni creditor yung cash proceeds na ibibigay kay debtor to compensate yung mataas na stated rate na nakalagay sa bond certificate compared sa market rate. Ang bond certificate kasi ay parang promissory note or contract agreement na kailangang sundin kasi irrevocable ang bond certificate, meaning permanent yung mga nakasulat sa certificate at hindi pwedeng baguhin. Masasabi na bond issued at premium kapag, for example, ang current market rate ay 10% pero ang nakalagay sa bond certificate ay 12%. Kapag ganito ang given sa problem, dapat mas mataas ang ibibigay na cash ni creditor kay debtor compared sa face amount na nakalagay sa bond certificate na babayaran ni debtor pagdating ng maturity date. Ang discount or premium on bonds payable ay contra liability account. At ang ginagawa sa mga discount or premium ay ina-amortize depende sa term ng bonds payable, pwedeng semi-annual or annually. Ang entry ng amortization sa bonds kapag discount ay debit interest expense and credit discount on bonds payable. Ang entry naman kapag premium ay debit premium on bonds payable and credit interest expense. Illustration: on March 1, 2022, Rich Company issued 10% bond with a face amount of 10 million pesos for 5 years. The bond interest payment will be on March 31 and September 30. The available market interest rate for the same bond is 12%. An effective interest method of amortization was used. Note: bonds payable are recorded using present value. The initial measurement of the bonds payable is present value of bonds payable plus present value of bonds payable interest payment. The effective interest method is used in amortizing discounts or premium on bonds payable. The formula of present value of 1 is quantity 1 plus rate raised to negative number of periods. The formula of present value of ordinary annuity of 1 is 1 minus quantity 1 plus rate raised to negative number of periods all over rate. Para makuha yung initial measurement ng bonds payable, kailangan makuha yung present value ng principal and present value ng interest. Computation: initial measurement of bonds. Present value of bonds payable principal equals 10 million times 1 plus 0.06 raised to negative 20. 10 million times 0.3118 equals 3,118,047.27. Pag sa present value ng principal ang gagamitin ay present value of 1 kasi one time lang nababayaran yung principal pagdating ng maturity. Present value of interest payment: 10 million times 10% times 6 over 12 equals 500,000. 500,000 times 1 minus 1 plus 0.06 raised to negative 20 all over 0.06 equals 500,000 times 11.47 equals 5,734,960.61. Pag sa present value naman ng interest, ang gagamitin ay present value of ordinary annuity of 1 kasi semi-annual ang payment ng interest for 10 years. Kapag nakuha na ang present value ng bonds, next is journal entry. Number 1, acquisition of bonds, debit cash, 8,853,007.88 na nakuha sa present value ng principal which is 3,118,047.27 plus present value ng interest na 5,734,960.61. Debit discount on bonds payable 1,146,992.12. Credit bonds payable 10 million. Number 2, first amortization of interest. Debit interest expense 31,180.47. Credit discount on bonds payable 31,180.47. Number 3, first interest payment. Debit interest expense 500,000. Credit cash 500,000. Ang entry naman sa second amortization ay debit interest expense 33,051.30 pesos. Credit discount on bonds payable 33,051.30 pesos na nakuha sa 8,884,188.35 times 6% equals 33,051.30. Nakuha yung carrying amount sa 8,853,007.88 plus 31,180.47 first amortization of interest equals 8,884,188.35. Number 2, second interest payment, debit interest expense 500,000, credit cash 500,000. Nakuha yung 500,000 sa 10 million times 10% times 6/12 equals 500,000. Parehas lang yung procedure ng pag-compute sa amortization of interest na carrying amount times market rate. And sa interest payment naman, principal times stated rate times time. Computation table of bonds payable for 10 years. Sa third period ng discount amortization, ang magiging entry ay 35,034.38. Pagdating ng fourth period, 37,136.44. Sa fifth period, 39,364.63. Sa sixth period, 41,726.51, and so on and so forth. Pagdating ng last period, ang magiging discount amortization ay 94,339.62. Next is definition ng kinds of bonds payable. Secured bonds payable, a type of bond that has collateral or pledge of a company's assets. It could either be land or building. This is to give the creditor assurance if the company fails to meet its bonds obligation. Ang secured bonds payable ay bonds na kapag ini-issue nagbibigay si debtor ng collateral kay creditor as security ni creditor just in case mag-default si debtor sa payments. Debenture or unsecured bonds payable. These bonds don't have a pledge or collateral. These bonds don't guarantee the creditor an assurance in case of payment failure. Itong bonds naman o debenture or unsecured ay kabaliktaran ng secured bonds. Kahit walang collateral si debtor ay pumapayag si creditor. Mostly sa mga bonds na unsecured ay government-issued bonds kasi pag sa government, andun yung assessment ni creditor na siguradong hindi magdi-default si government kasi continuous yung funds ng mga projects sa government. Registered bonds, a type of bonds that keeps the record of names and addresses of all the bondholders and pays the interest only to the names registered to the bonds. Itong bonds naman na ito ay nakalagay sa likod ng certificate yung mga names and addresses ng mga bondholders. Coupon bonds. This is the opposite of registered bonds. It doesn't have a record of names and addresses. Moreover, it pays interest to the bondholder who can prove the ownership of the bonds. Itong coupon bonds naman ay kabaliktaran lang ng registered bonds. Term bonds. These types of bonds mature in one single sum on a specified future date. Itong term bonds naman ay minsanan nababayaran yung bonds principal pagdating ng maturity, pero yung interest ng bonds ay babayaran depende sa kung ano yung mode of payments na nakalagay sa bond certificate. Serial bonds. Bonds mature in a series of installments. Itong serial bonds naman ay binabayaran ng principal ng installments or staggered. May series yung maturity ng bonds principal, hindi siya minsanan or one-time payment. Callable bonds. These bonds have a term or serial that the issuer can redeem at any time at a specified price. Ang callable bonds naman ay nakadepende sa issuer or debtor kung kailan niya gustong i-redeem yung mga bonds na inisyu niya. Hindi kagaya ng term bonds na may specific date kung kailan lang pwedeng ma-redeem yung bonds at yun yung maturity date. Convertible bonds. These bonds are called traded bonds, otherwise converted to other financial securities after a specified period. Yung convertible bonds naman ay pwedeng ipalit sa other financial securities like common stock or equity shares.